Hello everyone, welcome to DotNetMirror channel. Today we are diving into one of the most powerful features of Azure App Service, deployment slots. If you have ever worried about downtime during a release or wanted to test your code in a production like environment before going live, this is the video for you. In this video, we will look at what is Azure App Service, what are different deployment methods, we will understand about Azure deployment slots, when to use it, how you could use the swap, and when you're doing a swap, how the sticky versus swappable setting works. At the end, we will look at the auto deployment option, and for all these features, I will show end-to-end demo. Make sure you have Visual Studio IDE, Azure account, development knowledge of ASP.NET, C Sharp, and Azure, basic knowledge of deployment. Before we talk about slots, let's remember that Azure App Service is a fully managed platform as a service. It lets you build and deploy web apps and APIs using .NET, Java, Python, and more languages without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. While there are many ways to deploy, like GitHub Actions or Azure pipelines and different all methods over here, deployment slots offers a unique way to manage environments. The ones which are in green, I have already created videos and you can watch my playlist. I will provide the link in the description. Today, let's focus about deployment slots. What exactly is a deployment slot? Think of it as a live separate instance of your web app running within the same Azure App Service plan. Most commonly, slots will be used when you want to test the things on testing or staging environment that allows you to test your new code in a production like environment before swapping to a live production with no downtime. These are the reasons the deployment slots are a game changer. Zero downtime swaps. Azure handles the traffic routing and warming up your app so your users never sees a 404 or any loading screen. Always you can do a safe validation. You can test your new code in a staging slot that mimics the production exactly. If things goes wrong, you can easily roll back after a swap. Anytime you can go back and swap immediately. It's a cost effective. You pay only for the app service plan, not for the individual slots. A few things to keep in mind: deployment slots are available on standard, premium, and isolated, and the slot sizes are 5 in standard, 20 in premium, and isolated tier. As I mentioned, you only pay for the plan and not for the slot. Each slot will have its own unique host name and it will have its own published profile as well. When you are doing a swap, application content and settings are swapped between two deployment slots, including the production slot. Make sure that your slot name is below 19 characters, as the DNM limits to 40 characters. Make sure, including everything, it is less than 59 characters. Since the slot shares the same app service plan, make sure your plan has enough compute power to handle both production and your different deployment slots. Let's understand when to use it. Let's say that I have an app one with version 1, and if you look at the right side, I have a website called DNM. We are deploying it there. That is in the slot 1 production. For the same application version 2, we are deploying it to a slot called staging. That's why if you see the name, it's a DNM hyphen staging. That is your staging slot. So with this, you can develop your application, deploy it, test, and if everything is good, you can do the swap. And if things goes wrong, you can do anytime rollback. Always you can maintain a production grade application in the production slot. Let's get into the demo. If you see here, already I have a resource group called DNM deployment slots, and I already created a app service called DNM. And if you look at the app service plan, I have selected as a free service. Now let's go and create deployment slots. As ours is a free plan, it says that you have to upgrade to standard or premium. Let's go and upgrade. The minimum plan is standard. Let's go and select standard S1. And please make sure you are looking at the cost. So let's upgrade the plan. So now it is done. Let's go back. Now this is our plan. Now it is in S1. Let's go to the application. This is our application. To start using deployment slots, go to the deployment slots. So now it says no slots have been added. Now let's, so before we add a slot, let's go and deploy our application. Yeah, now if you look at the application, the app is up and running. I have a basic ASP.NET application. So let's go and deploy the application. Let's select Azure. Let's go to App Service Windows. As I already connected to my account, now it will try to show our App Service DN deployment slots. And we have not created any deployment slots. It doesn't show anything. So let's select the main application. Before we deploy this, let's go and check if the basic authentication is enabled. Yeah, let's select this option. Now let's deploy the app. Now the app is ready to publish. Let's publish. Now the app is published successfully. Let's refresh this. Now the app is published. Now you can see welcome to production and home page and privacy page. Now let's go and create the deployment slot. Now let's add a slot as staging. And at the moment I will not clone any settings. Now the slot is created. Now you can see that with our staging slot, there is a production slot and the staging slot. And now if you click on this DNM staging, it says app service slot, and altogether it has everything like other app service. It has its own host name, everything is there. Even the publish profile is different for each slot. Now what we will do is we will go to the app in the index page. Now we will say that let's make, let's assume this is our change. So now let's go and deploy to app service. This time we will deploy to the staging slot. So you can click on new profile again, Azure, Windows. So this time as we created this slot, now it is showing as staging slot. So let's select that. Let's go next. Let's finish. Let's publish this. This time it is using a different publish profile. If you can see here, it says DNM-staging. Previously it was DNM publish profile. Let's wait for a minute. Now the deployment is succeeded. Let's go to the app. Let's click on the staging URL. Now this time if you see here, the staging slot contains welcome staging. When comes to the main production slot, it says welcome to production. Now what we will try to do is we will, now let's assume that this is your app 1 version 2, and if you think that everything is good, let's go and do a swapping. So let's go here. Now from the main app service, let's click on swap. So now our source is this, target is this. It will try to show all the slot changes. So we'll not change anything. So let's do a swap. Now what it does is it will try to swap your application of production to the staging. Now staging will become like a main production app. Now successfully swapped the slots. Now let's go to the production one. Now we see here our production one says welcome to staging. When you go to the stage slot, now it will show the production one. Both the slots are swapped now. Let's assume that your swap has gone wrong and you want to do a rollback, simply what you can do is go to deployment slots and again do one more swap. Now the swapping slots is succeeded. Let's go and refresh our main website. Now if you look at here, it's reverted to our version 1. When we go to the staging slot, it should say as welcome to staging. Now it is reverted to our original versions. Now let's look at one of the feature called traffic percentage. Let's say that this is your main site and you have done changes over here. What you can do is if you go and put the percentage as 50, what will happen is if you go to your live site and keep refreshing, 50% of traffic it will send it to the second slot staging. Sometimes it sends to the main one. Now let's go and test this traffic in private window. Now this time it is sending into the production. So what's happening here is the main production slot itself, because of 50% of traffic routing, sometime it's sent to staging and sometime it sends to the production. With this way you can make your the version to application to your end users and try to get the feedback, and if everything is good you can go and do the swapping. So this is about the traffic percentage. So let me revert back. Let's save this. Now what we will do is we will try to add couple of application settings. So let's go to the application. So within the app setting dot json, let me add couple of slot settings. I have added two application settings. One is sticky, other one is just swappable. So both are local. Let me go to the index page. Let's try to read those values. So let's say using Microsoft dot extension. To read those you have to use this configuration. Then let's inject I configuration. Let's call it as configuration. Let me copy the couple of configurations to read those app settings. So let's run the local app. Yeah, now if you see here, we are getting two values. Now let's deploy this code to the slots. So I'll go here. So let's publish. First I'll publish to, so as it staging. Yeah, the word is staging. Now let's go to the staging slot. App is deployed to staging. Now let's go here. I'll just call it as production. Now let's deploy to the production slot. So let's select the production one. Let's publish. Yeah, the app is published to production. Now let's go and add these app settings. Let's go to the environment variables. Let's add. So to read these values, I have to add like this. So let's select this and let's say sticky, and we'll say sticky, we'll say sticky production, and as is a sticky version we will say this slot is specific to this one, so we'll apply. The other one we will make it as swappable. So let's add this. So this time we'll not select the slot setting option. In the staging also, let me add those two app settings. So let's take from here. So instead of production, we say stage. Here we'll say stage. Now the slot settings, yeah, here it is true because it's sticky. Here it is swappable, we're saying false. When you select deployment slot setting as true during the swapping, right, this will not be swapped. So these kind of scenarios you have to use when you have a connection string or any other settings which you don't want to swap. At that time, make sure that you are enabling this. Now our app configurations are done. Let's go and refresh the production one. Yeah, if you look at here, it says welcome to production and our configurations are coming. So let's check the same in staging. Yeah, here also it is reading. Now what we will try to do is let's do a swap. Let's go to the main one. Now let's try to swap the slots. This time we will do with the configurations. Now now if you look at the settings, this time you're not getting a sticky one because it is very specific the deployment slot, but the swappable one is coming. Now let's do a swap. Now the swap is successful. Let's go to the production one. This should change to staging when I refresh. The sticky value will not change, but the swappable will change. Let's refresh. Yeah, now if you look at here in the production slot, now we got the staging version change. Whereas the sticky configuration value did not change because it's a deployment slot specific app setting. The same with staging one. So let's go to the staging URL. Now if you look at here, you should get welcome to production. This will not change, but this will change. Yeah. Now with this way, you can work with your configuration settings. If things are very specific to slot settings, enable that. But if you want to swap the configurations, make sure that you unselect that particular option. Now the last option we will see is auto deployment. Now what we'll do is, if you look at our production one, it says welcome to staging. Now what we will do is, let's go to the app staging slot. So go to the configurations. So here there's an option called auto swap enabled. Okay, when you select auto swap enabled, automatically it goes and deploy to production whenever you deploy the application to the staging. So let's apply this. Now what I will do is, I'll go to the app. Let me make a small change. Here I will say that, so currently let's look at what is our production one. It says welcome to staging. I will say that welcome to auto enabled deployment. Now let's deploy this to staging slot. Let's publish. Now the build is succeeded. If you see here, automatically it got deployed to production. We did not do anything manually. So this is the option about auto deployment. Let's go back to the PPT. Yeah, so these are the clone settings we talked about. Make sure that you're using deployment slot settings. So during the swap process, the app settings, connection strings, the framework version. These are the different settings will be moved. Few things like domain name, scale settings, these settings will not be swappable, so check the MSDN. This auto swap you could use with the Azure DevOps process when you want to do continuously deployment with zero cold start and zero downtime. And this particular option is available in the slot settings. Go to configuration, you can enable auto swap enabled, which I have shown. This article you can refer. With this we are done with the video. Thanks for watching. Please click on the like button if you like the video, share with your friends and colleagues. Click on the bell icon to get more updates from my channel on .NET and Azure videos. Thanks for watching. See you again.